It's the 100-year anniversary of Disney, and boy, what a rough year to celebrate. It's no secret Disney has had a lot of losses this year, with movies severely underperforming, attractions shutting down, and just the all-around attitude not being as optimistic or innovative as it used to be. Now, I've definitely seen this from Disney before. They've had a lot of peaks and valleys, and in a strange way, I'm kind of excited because usually when they get themselves in a rut, that's when they have to think outside the box, and we do get something like a Little Mermaid or a Pixar or a Frozen or something. But until that day comes, we're gonna look over a lot of the projects that did not perform as well as they were hoping, as well as some projects from the past, and oh yeah, it's DisneyCember. I have to add something new to look over too. What else is there? I mean, good God, Disney has bought everything, or maybe hasn't bought enough. I don't know anymore, but I just feel like I've added so many things I don't really know what to include this year. And somebody on one of my Q&A streams brought up that Disney technically owns Hollywood Pictures. Oh, okay, I kind of remember seeing that logo sometimes, especially before Tombstone. That's like one of my favorite westerns of all time, but I don't know, what else did they have their hand in? Oh, really? Sixth Sense? I didn't know that. The Rock? Okay, I like that movie. The Super Mario Brothers movie? Oh, yeah, okay, I gotta include this. Okay, but why not? I'm gonna include Hollywood Pictures this year. Is that like a big epic edition? Probably not, but Christ, I've been doing this over 10 years and I've just included so many other different themes and elements. I think it's enough. Disney has ventured into so many different other things, some working for the best, some not working for the best, sometimes they're both. I think the idea of doing like these big additions, like they're gonna add so much, might kind of be a thing of the past, at least for now, because they already have so much. But with that said, that does mean we already have so much to talk about. We still do have Pixar and Marvel and Star Wars and video games and just so many things out there that we can talk about, and they're still making movies, shows, games, the works. And a lot of these I'm excited to talk about for the first time, but also excited to talk about again. Yeah, it's the same rules as last time, where if I talked about a movie or a show on, say, Untitled Review Show or Vlog or something, I'm gonna talk about it again here. I'm just gonna include spoilers and yeah, maybe see if my opinion has changed over time. Some of these came out close to a year ago, and yeah, let's admit it, our opinions can change. Once more, every day in December, I'm gonna review something Disney related. So sit back and enjoy. This is DisneyCember 2023, the Hollywood Pictures edition, on top of everything else already being bought by them. Let's start with a movie I've actually wanted to talk about for a long time, Super Mario Bros. 93, as a lot of people are calling it. Now, I know what you're thinking. I've talked about this, haven't I? In fact, isn't this like one of the earliest nostalgia critics I ever did? Yes, it is, but on top of there being a time restriction back then on YouTube, I did very much have a different style and played the NC more as a character. I mean, this is over 15 years old. Really think a YouTube video is over 15 years old. Maybe you've made some YouTube videos over 15 years old, and yeah, things are a little different now, aren't they? Bottom line, I really want to talk about this movie just as myself and my thoughts on it all these years later, because let me tell you, I remember the excitement I had when this movie came out. Whenever people look up the trailer, they usually see this really lame one where they play, "I got the power," and they just sort of show all these dumb clips that don't connect to anything, and the text looks really weird and the music is bad, and everyone will look at it and say, well, yeah, of course that was gonna be. Why was anyone surprised? But that's not the one me and my friends saw. We saw the This Ain't No Game trailer. It was a lot shorter, but by God, it was epic. We all said the same thing. This is gonna be the Super Mario Brothers what Tim Burton was to Batman. This is gonna be the dark, gritty, adult version of this material that we didn't even know we wanted. But by God, we were excited for. I'm letting you know this for a few reasons. One, I actually wasn't distracted that this was different from the source material. I was actually open to something different and odd. And yeah, again, it kind of made sense in 93. This would be that interpretation. Unless you made it animated, there was really no other way to do a faithful movie like this. That was more like the source material. Two, I hope that conveys even more just what a letdown this movie was. I hated it when it first came out. I thought it was boring, I thought it was weird, I thought it was childish, which even then that would be okay. I was a child at the time, but it wasn't the fun kind of childish. It was just sort of stupid and dumb, and nobody really looked like they knew what they were doing or where they were or had any clear mindset, which I guess was the case. Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo admitted to being drunk throughout half the production because it was so bad. However, years later, I've actually really grown to enjoy it. Not only because it is one of those movies that's so bad it's good, and I've gotten a real appreciation for those over time, but because, yes, there is a lot of creativity in this. I mean, good God, how do you take a Goomba that looks like this and turn it into this? Like, I started to think to myself, oh, maybe they thought like that was a little head walking around, and just let's put it on a big body so they can be more of a threat. Maybe that's the idea. I don't know. But it's kind of fun trying to figure that out. And on top of that, visually the film looks amazing. I mean, this was some early old school CGI, and yes, some of it doesn't hold up, but a lot of it does, or at the very least, even if it doesn't hold up, it's so creatively done. The story is both really basic and hugely complicated at the same time. The Mario brothers are a duo of plumbers trying to fix problems all around the city when they stumble across an archaeologist named Daisy, who's constantly being halted by another villain named Scapelli. Like, for some reason, they try to make this, like, the bigger villain sometimes in the movie. Like, sometimes he's a bigger threat than Koopa. And the three of them form a nice friendship, / even a bit of romance between Luigi and Daisy. When Daisy is kidnapped, though, and taken to an alternate world where humans evolve from dinosaurs instead of apes, the Mario brothers follow her and try to save her from an evil overlord named Koopa, who's trying to merge the two worlds together. Okay, so let me talk about the legit pros of this movie, because there are one or two. Like I said before, visually this looks really great. I absolutely love this city. I was kind of that kid that loved places like Cool World and Gotham and Blade Runner. In fact, the guy who designed Blade Runner designed this world. I just kind of love hellhole cities where there's just always something going on, and it's usually chaos. It's beautiful chaos in a strange way. The acting, at least from the main three, is pretty good. Luigi and Daisy can be a little too wide-eyed and innocent and, whoa, what's going on? Like, you know, that kind of thing. But I think that's what was asked of them, and I guess they do it okay. Bob Hoskins has and always will be my live-action Mario. I'm sure they can get another one in the future if they ever decide to do another live-action Mario, but in terms of his look, his voice, his demeanor, what he wears, this is Mario to me. I absolutely love his portrayal, and it doesn't even sound like he gave it that much thought. He was just kind of doing his usual Bob Hoskins thing, but he's an amazing actor. Just his usual Bob Hoskins thing is amazing and gets the character down perfect. I also give credit that they're attempting to go darker with this material. Now, again, do we really need to go dark with Super Mario Brothers? No, but do I always like when there's an attempt and they try to go really creative with it? Yeah, and this does create imagery I'm not gonna forget. Like I said, it at least made for a really cool trailer. But in terms of legit pros, like, that's the stuff I unironically like. There's really nothing else. This is just so bonkers and so stupid, but it's so bonkers and so stupid in ways that are kinda unique. Dennis Hopper just constantly looks like he has no idea what he's saying or why he's saying it. The whole movie looks like he's doing it under protest, which I guess is kinda true. I guess he said he did it for his kids.
Well, my. Looks like you got up on the wrong side of the nest this morning. I'll kill that plumber! Goomba! Yeah. Go, Goomba!
He sounds so constantly lost and at the same time annoyed. I just want him to scream after every line. There! Is that what you're looking for, you crazy loons? But I can't even say he's the worst actor. This guy who plays Toad? With Hopper, you at least get some idea of the emotion he's supposed to have. He's supposed to always be angry. I don't even know what emotion this guy is supposed to have.
And you, Koopa, you're a lousy leader!
And he's been de-evolved. That's right, he's been de-evolved into fungus.
Our old king! You tried to get rid of him, but the king is everywhere!
This movie honestly is amazing if you just ask one question. Not even one question, one word. Why? Why did they do that? Why did they shoot it that way? Why did they say this line this way? There's a moment where the Mario brothers finally meet Koopa, and he's standoffish, and he doesn't like him, he doesn't answer any of their questions, but then, bizarrely, it's like the scene starts again. Like, he just decides, oh, I'm gonna be friendly now, and the Mario brothers are like, oh yeah, we'll be friendly too. Watch it and tell me if you follow it. This reaction Dennis Hopper has when he says he's gonna turn them all into monkeys. It's like 3 different reactions edited together at once, and it's just a miracle of psychoticness.
Will be devolved into monkeys. Ha! Ha! Ha!
Koopa's 2 henchmen, Iggy and Spike, which is already confusing. Iggy is one of the kids and Spike is one of the henchmen. Like, they're just randomly tossing out names. This guy is named Bowser. This is King Bowser in a movie with King Koopa. What the Anyway, they get captured by the Mario brothers and they're kind of forced to help them out, like they're being held hostage, so they might as well just take them to Bowser. Oh, I'm sorry, King Koopa. Again, not the same person. Out of nowhere, they just decide they don't like Koopa. Keep in mind, this whole movie, all they want to do is please Koopa, and then literally their arc, their big change, is this one line.
To the downfall of Koopa.
The sooner, the better.
Where the did that come from? It makes no sense. And do I even need to bring up the other stuff that doesn't make sense? The weird running joke with the pizza, which, by the way, there is a deleted scene that technically has a payoff, but it's about as good as the one that's in the movie. Them being called Mario Mario and Luigi Mario, because get it? Mario Brothers, but his first name is Mario. That's their ingenious workaround. Couldn't they just say Mario Brothers had a better ring than, and then make up like a silly last name that they have or something? Like, there's so many other ways around this. Do like the Malcolm in the Middle thing where you never hear the last name. Like, there's such a lack of creativity behind the writing that, in a strange way, is so not creative, it almost becomes creative again. They try to show like a video gamey pixelated opening because, you know, it was based on a video game, but nothing in that opening looks like the video game. It's like an AI was fed this material about what the game was about, and this is what it turned out, except, in all honesty, I don't think AI could get this weird. I know there's so many other things I could talk about with this film, but honestly, these are the things I've always wanted to bring up and didn't have a chance to, because, again, Nostalgia Critic was a little different in the beginning, and I would probably focus more on this stuff now, which is kind of the point of these DisneyCembers. I can go back and revisit these movies. And truth be told, I've honestly learned to really love it and appreciate it. Not because it's good, but because it is so creatively bad and enjoyably bad. It is just so entertaining. So is that a recommendation? Well, my thought is a lot of people watching this have already seen the movie before. Again, we've talked about it so many times in the past, but if you haven't, A, you have to have a love for bad movies. You have to go in just wanting to enjoy yourself, and this will most likely give you a good time. And B, even if it's not exactly your type of bad, like the bad that makes you laugh out loud, just keep asking yourself why. Every moment, every second, every design, just everything, ask the question why, and I think you'll have a ball. So there you go. 30 years later, I come back to this film to revisit it as an adult, and while I certainly can't say it's objectively good, it is a lot better in that it is more enjoyable. I have a great time watching it, and I think I will watch it a lot more times in the future, which I couldn't do as a kid. I was just so betrayed by how bad it is, but now I can really see the joy in it. With that said, what are your thoughts on it 30 years later? Because man, it is so crazy to see just the acceptance of it go back and forth between being hated and then love hating it, and some people legit loving it, and some people loving to laugh at it, some people loving to tear it apart or legit get angry tearing it apart, because it is kind of cool. We have a real Mario movie now that's much closer to the source material, and this is kind of like a weird bump in the road. But it was interesting, wasn't it? Let me know your thoughts and keep watching, as DisneyCember is just getting started.